Hey everybody, this is the Aggressively Medium podcast with Lee and Josh. Hey man. See, I'm ready in your mouth. See?
Hey, bud.
Hey bud.
Oh gosh, my chair is so low.
I didn't do that.
You messed with it.
Nope, I didn't do
You
that.
messed with it. There we go.
Well, it's episode 101.
101. 3 away from
2 years.
extravaganza.
Yep.
We'll see.
The Aggressively Medium extravaganza.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like a pretty okay party.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
It'll
party.
be okay.
Yeah. How was your week?
Man, it was
Anything
good.
crazy?
We had some stormage
Yeah.
that we were both in the path of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
I don't live on your side of town.
well, but we were at the station and there was one close to us too.
Really?
Yep.
It was some serious wind.
Oh yeah.
I thought the little spinners on the top of the house were going to come off.
Oh, the vents.
They were just screaming. And it was,
Yeah.
I'm glad it stopped before everybody was like asleep, because it sounded like a smoke alarm going off in the house almost. Like,
Dang.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it had never done that before. So that was some serious wind.
Yeah. Dang.
And actual tornadoes and stuff. But
Yeah, that's
no.
my wife's doesn't know. She's not good with tornadoes, so she had all the helmets ready to go.
Is that what those were out for?
Yeah.
That's what James Spann says to do. And
He said, "Well, was it like 80% of people that
it's head damage,
blunt force trauma to the head?
head trauma. Yeah.
I mean, if
Makes
I'm gonna
sense.
get in a safe place, might as well have a helmet on.
And the best thing is a motorcycle helmet with
Yeah.
like the visor and everything, because you get debris in your face
yeah.
But I mean, pillow over the top is fine.
Here's okay. This is hot take. Might not be the most just Jesus.
I'm worried.
Yeah. Might not be the most like scientifically accurate, and I'm probably just like rolling the dice on this. I've been alive 32 years.
Don't get a cat.
No. So effectively, I've been in 32 tornado seasons.
Yeah.
I've been
We really gotta have 2 a year.
yeah, I've been a part of one tornado
Yep.
that was at my house in Demopolis. You sneeze again. Golly, dude.
You got a cougar in here.
You ain't got nothing in here. Gosh. But we'll say this half of the table. This half of the table is the state of Alabama, right?
Yep.
We got storm paths moving through the state. I've got to worry about this little thing right here. It's even smaller than that in relation to the size of the state. I got to worry about something that small pinpointing me and hitting me. It's going to be real rare.
Yeah.
I think that happens.
Yeah.
But
Even in highly tornadoed areas.
well, we are.
I know.
You know, Alabama they talk about Oklahoma being the tornado alley. We have more tornadoes per capita.
Yeah. And a lot of the ones in the flat Midwest don't get big.
Yeah. Well, and they don't cause any damage because they're
there's
out in the
nothing
middle
out
of the
there.
plains. Yeah.
You had a cat rub this microphone. That's what you did. You rubbed it all over a cat's little head. My eyes are about to swell shut.
That's gross.
So,
but yeah, you know what else was this week?
luckily, I know you're talking about the Oscars. And that...
Not the Grouch from Sesame Street.
No.
There was a Grouch.
Oscar the Grouch.
There was a Grouch at the Oscars. Will Smith.
Oh. I can tell both of my jokes right now, and I wouldn't have to remember them. So, let's try and do this fast before I sneeze. I saw a joke that said, if it wasn't for Will Smith and Chris Rock, I wouldn't even know the Oscars happened.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which, Rabbit Trail, which we're not going to go down right now,
Yeah.
that was on purpose.
I don't think it was. I don't.
Okay, that's fine. I do.
Yeah.
Also, my second joke, Will Smith is a grouch. He won an Oscar, and he slapped a guy.
Yeah.
And it was somebody breaking down. They were like, well, okay, what was the Oscar about? It was for
Actor of the Year or whatever.
King or whatever. Well, it was a Lifetime, but
Yeah.
it was for, what's the movie? King Richard.
Yeah.
So he won an award for playing the best dad in the world.
Yeah.
And then he's got to go sit down beside his 2 kids. No wonder he was pissed when Chris Rock made that joke. He was ready to go.
Yeah. He's already ready to go.
Because he had to sit down beside his 2 terrible kids.
Yeah. Did you see where Alec Baldwin won the Oscar for Best Murderer?
Saw the joke that said the tweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had the audacity to tweet that there's no place for violence.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Unless you blow a hole through a lady.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. And I mean, he didn't do it.
Yeah, his finger did.
Well, he's still like...
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw a joke about that.
About the Oscars?
About Alec Baldwin specifically. That said he said the movie set it in the only place he's not firing blanks, and it was an announcement for him and his wife's 7th kid. Like Alec Baldwin.
Dang it.
He said Alec Baldwin never shoots blanks.
Yeah. Have you seen that there was a Will Smith, like you remember the old commercials, like the More You Know commercials? There was a Will Smith. It had like the star and the trail. It was like The More You Know. There was a Will Smith one from back then that was like, violence is never the answer. It's like, you got to think with your head and all this other stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah. So there's like, is it not weird? This has nothing to do with Oscars.
Oh.
Is it not weird that Will Smith gets on stage and starts talking about God and...
Oh, it always is.
But he's like, God's put me on this earth for this, blah, 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 blah. Side note, I'm in an open marriage.
Yeah.
Do they not have the same Christianity that we do over here? Because that wouldn't fly.
Have you ever heard... This isn't... I know you weren't specifically talking about African Americans. You were talking about, like, celebrities.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not going to single a race out for something.
No, but have you ever heard... It's not... who's the main Christian rapper?
Lecrae?
Not him, but it was like a pudgier, shorter guy who's really popular.
Black guy or white guy?
Black guy.
I'm not sure. Kate, is it the...
Well, he did an interview with Ravi Zacharias a long time ago.
Oh.
They didn't talk about strip clubs or anything.
Dang. Well.
But he was... The rapper was talking about how, like, in African American culture, like, Tupac and Biggie are hanging out in heaven. But, like, that's how, especially, like, unchurched African American, like, everybody goes to heaven, no matter what. And it's just cool. And it's like, he said it's a real problem because, like, that's not true.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I just thought of that. But had nothing to do with African Americans until I said that. So,
yeah.
But that was an interesting thing that I read one time.
Yeah. Well, so if you want to...
But to say that, a lot of people have their own Christianity.
Yeah. Well, but it's just, to me, it's just a weird...
Yeah.
But the whole...
Sorry.
Chris Rock made the joke. If you want to break it down, Chris Rock made the joke about the alopecia.
For the second time. He's done it before.
Oh, he's about
on stage.
Her being bald?
Yes. Like an alopecia joke. But it was years ago, and it was funny.
Well, Will Smith was laughing. Jada was not.
Yeah. And she's in charge.
And she is in charge.
Apparently. I don't know much about their marriage.
Oh, she's got to be.
Other than it's not a good one.
Well, she's got to be in charge.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he's Will Smith. She's a bald-headed lady. Like, what is she? Who is she?
She is
also an actress?
Wife. Love of his life.
Wow. Okay.
But she was cheating on him before.
Always.
It was an open marriage.
Yeah.
And then...
She talked about it openly in her little red table talk thing.
I have nothing for her.
No.
But I could see her being upset, and then Will is like, are you freaking kidding me? I got to go...
Slap my friend?
He was... Dude, okay.
It wasn't a real slap.
Hold on.
He didn't even touch his face.
Hold on. Let me play this out for you, okay?
I'm gonna interrupt you if I don't sit back.
Okay. Let me play this out for you. You have 2 kids, the 2 kids that he has. Exactly. You have the wife that he has. You've dealt with them all day. There's this big event. The boy was probably wanting to put makeup on so that he could look good for the Oscars, and you got to deal with that. You got to deal with this. You got to deal with Jada's
all 3 of them are bickering over the eyeshadow.
Yeah, Jada's coming in and saying, "Do you think I should wear a wig or should I not wear a wig?" And then she tries on like 3 wigs. You're trying to walk out the door to go to the Oscars that you've known about for a year.
She always
and it's at the same time. But
she doesn't wear wigs.
You don't think she's still a woman though, that she's going to be like, "I'm going to try this on. No, I don't want that. Oh, I'm going to try. Nah, I'm going to just go bald." And then you're like, we gotta get out of here. And then at the last minute, she's like, "Hey, we need to make a TikTok real quick before we leave for the Oscars." Then you finally get to the Oscars, and you're like, "Man, this is just..." All the while, she's probably just jabbing you in the car. Well, why don't you always, when we have these events, you always get upset because we're always late, blah, 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 blah. And she's just the whole time. You're like, "Look, this is my night. I'm getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. Why are we talking about you?" Sit down, finally get to enjoy yourself. And then she darts those eyes at you and it's like, "You ain't going to do nothing about this?" You're upset already. I'm not saying you'd slap the man, but...
Or...
Okay, let's hear the or.
The president of the New World Order calls up Will Smith or whoever's in charge of Hollywood. "Hey, Will. Last year, 16 people watched the Oscars. Okay?
Why does the guy who runs the New World Order care about
No,
him?
I said who's in charge of Hollywood. I don't know who it is. The person in charge. Or the committee. Could be a round table with fire around it and whatever. Hey, Will. 16 people watched the Oscars last year. We got a lot of money riding on this advertisement stuff. People are pissed about last year. We barely got the ads we wanted this time. Da-da-da. Hey, we're going to give you this Lifetime Achievement Award. It's the highest honor you could get. We need you to make a scene. Now, we'll tee it up. We've already talked with Jada. Y'all are going to get some money for this.
Talked with Jada.
Jada's on board. She said you'd be fine with it. You got to go. You got to act mad. Go up and you've done a lot of physical acting.
Yeah.
Chris hasn't. All we're going to tell him to do is duck.
Duck.
Hopefully he doesn't do it to where it looks like the slap didn't even touch his face, but we'll see. That's what happened. And then Will was like, "Okay, Jada's making me do this. Y'all are making me do this, basically. Just make sure I don't get in trouble too bad." And he said, "Okay." And here we are. And it happened.
Speaking of the Oscars.
Yeah.
This would probably be the only Christian movie that I would ever watch. Okay? It is 50 Shades of Grey, the Christian version.
I don't think they'd just be a bunch of sitting.
Okay. Well, let's watch the trailer.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
This isn't real.
It is real. Oh, crap.
No.
Crazy Christian movie review. This one's really bad. The film's called Old Fashioned and it claims to be a Christian alternative to 50 Shades of Grey. Sadly, when you take away all the wild stuff, you're just left with an abusive boyfriend. The movie begins with our love interest Amber moving into a town, renting an apartment from our main character Clay, a borderline psychopath who only hangs out with his aunt and says stuff like this.
"Let's talk about tomatoes.
Upon showing her the apartment, Clay refuses to go inside.
To never be alone with any woman that's not my wife."
Later, we meet Clay's friends, one of which has a radio show that says stuff like this.
"Women are stupid."
Soon after, Amber realizes that her stove doesn't work, so she calls Clay. He makes her wait outside in the cold while he fixes it because that's what gentlemen do. Later, we witness the worst proposal in the history of mankind.
What's this?
That would be an engagement ring.
You want to get married? I figure I'm making an honest woman out of you.
Hey, I'm an honest woman.
It's just an expression.
I don't like it.
So was that yes?
Then Amber begins to literally break all the stuff in her apartment so that she has an excuse to call Clay up. I guess that somehow works, and Clay agrees to go on a date with her as long as it's
My rules, my way.
Since Clay is an absolute romantic, he takes her to a church where they get a book called Red, Yellow, Green Light, which includes questions like,
How many children would you like to have?
and because Amber has no experience with children, Clay takes her to his friend's house and makes her feed his friend's daughter. On their second date, Clay takes her to the hardware store to look at axes, letting her know exactly what she can be looking forward to this evening. As things begin to heat up, Clay finally invites her for a normal one-on-one date where they'll be alone together. Just kidding, he brings his aunt. Can't be alone with a woman. Meanwhile, we find out that he cheated on his last girlfriend.
I think it's good. Lord, both of you take me home already. This is getting painful.
You're telling me, Aunt Zella. One of Amber's friends revealed that Clay used to make dirty videos in college, but Amber doesn't care about Clay's past because in this film, only women can be held accountable for their actions.
I've been with 5.
And because Amber slept with 5 guys, Clay has to break up with her. Clay's ex then conveniently shows up at his house out of nowhere, and somehow Amber hooks up with Clay's radio friend, after which Amber accidentally sees Clay's ex leaving his house in the morning, but it's revealed that Clay slept in his truck. Amber confronts Clay, so Clay puts her on blast, only to find out that Amber didn't go through with the hookup after all. Finally, after a pep talk with Aunt Zella,
I'd like to wring your neck.
Clay finds it in his heart to forgive Amber for doing absolutely nothing wrong. Ultimately, Clay sets up a special date inside a grocery store and proposes to her in the baby food aisle.
Baby food aisle.
Little on the nose.
She then says yes, and Clay's character remains absolutely the same as he was before. A complete jerk-off, but I guess that's what you should expect from a movie named after a...
Well,
Good job, Christian media. You got it right.
no wonder.
You finally got one on watch.
I'd rather be a part of Hillsong than a part of that. And that'll lead us into our next discussion.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be part of that.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd rather have my name affiliated with that than that movie.
Yeah. There's
Who spent money to make that?
If you want to, I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the podcast. I have a movie that my name is associated with that I don't really care that it's associated with. Like, I'm not a fan of it. It's called The Pizza Boy. If you look up IMDb, I have a credit on IMDb. It's either IMDb or Wikipedia, one of the two. Is The Pizza Boy, oh gosh, I can't remember what year it was. If it has a freaking you find it? 2013.
Yep. Budget was $500.
Yep. Most of that was my
Davin
editing
Sterling.
fee. Who?
Davin Sterling. Music by Davin Sterling.
Oh, I have no idea about that.
Who does it star? Brad Jacobowitz?
Yep.
Jacobowitz?
Something like that.
Jacobowitz?
Jacobowitz?
This isn't real.
It is real.
Sophocles Athanason?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Ernest Jacobowitz? Marlene Jacobowitz?
Look at edited by
Joshua Julian?
Boom, baby. So, do you want me to read you the synopsis?
I guess.
Brad has come to a crossroad in his life. He's 30 years old, lives with his parents, and has a dead-end job as a pizza delivery driver. He's disrespected by his parents, his boss, his customers, a hooker, and even his best friend.
It's Taxi Driver.
Throughout the movie, Brad undergoes building a psychosis. He feels pathetic, like a disappointment and a complete failure. Brad becomes angry at the world for the hand he has been dealt. He suffers from multiple mental disorders, which progressively worsen as he falls further into insanity. The film climaxes when Brad finally snaps.
Taxi Driver.
Then he kills all of them.
It's Taxi Driver.
So,
have you ever seen Taxi Driver?
I've not seen the movie.
With Al Pacino.
I haven't seen that movie. Listen. There is he has an imaginary friend in the movie that is played by no one. It's just he walks into a room and starts talking. And then he kills his imaginary friend at some point, which is just him going. It's fantastic.
You edited it?
I did. I didn't have a job, and I was looking for any media job that I could, and I would like scour Craigslist. And this job popped up on Craigslist, and I was like,
did you do a good job with what
I
you
did
had?
as good of a job as I could have. There's a trailer for it, but I don't think we need to watch the trailer. I didn't edit the trailer, so there's no sense in us.
Death will be delivered.
But yeah, gosh, if it's on like Amazon Prime or something, I'd be like, just there's no way. I think I still have a copy of it somewhere. But man, that movie is horrible.
I'm sure.
But even it has to be better than the trailer that we just watched.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
I thought so throughout the whole movie, he's like a former wrestler, and he's got clips that he's like watching on TV of him wrestling back in the like WWE wrestling, and they're like, oh, he's just like, and it was like some guy who killed his whole family. I can't remember his name. He's a WWE wrestler.
Chris Benoit.
There he is. Yep. And I thought the final scene of that movie was going to be him walking into the room and murdering me. Like, I thought this was just like a big setup. Like, I was like, got the job on Craigslist. This guy's crazy. The videos are actually him wrestling back in the day. Actually, people saying he's like this crazy man. I was like, so the last 2 times that I went, I took a friend with me. And then
like the guy from our last trailer.
And then he texted me again, and he was like, hey, I need you one more time. And I was like, I'm out, dude. You paid me? I'm out. I can't do this. I'm not going to get murdered.
Dang. Are he going to wrestle you?
Yeah, he might have wrestled me. But yeah, so I would rather be a part of both of those things before I'm a part of that 50 Shades of Grey Christian movie.
I'd rather be Carl Lentz's babysitter.
The one that
than watch that movie.
Oh, he didn't have sex with a babysitter.
No, he just abused them.
He
just
had a
used them
sexual
up.
relationship with some. They kept saying like female actress or something.
She's a like social media influencer.
No.
You talking about the chick?
Not the chick that they all came out about. This was like a separate incident. This was another woman. He's like,
we're talking about the Hillsong.
Yeah. So the Hillsong documentary came out on Discovery Plus. Yeah. And if you have kept up, honestly, if you've kept up with this podcast and you've heard our episodes about it, there's nothing new that you're going to find out in this documentary. I've watched all 3 episodes. You watched the first episode.
Yep.
Is
it just 3?
Yeah, it's just
3. So you're
3.
done.
I'm done, yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about, I thought this was on go. That's it?
3 is it. There's only 3 episodes. Yeah.
Oh, that makes us even more stupid.
It's very stupid. So essentially what the documentary is a bunch of people complaining that they were volunteers at a church and they were doing work. And then they were in college, Hillsong College, and then they were doing work. So let me back up. I did want to preface this. There were some bad things that happened. Mm-hmm. There were some people that were sexually abused. Mm-hmm. That out of the way, this entire thing is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But those people who actually felt trauma, sexual trauma, sexual abuse, there's nothing that can be said to make up for that.
Yeah.
There's nothing that anybody can say.
Sexual abuse is not subjective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I guess to some degree, everything ever is to some degree subjective. But if you get sexually assaulted, if you get touched inappropriately,
yeah,
somebody can't be like, well, I didn't touch you inappropriately.
Yeah.
It's like, well, your hand was on my inner thigh.
Yeah.
That's universally inappropriate.
Yeah.
When you start getting
especially
into...
if you have a wife and kids. and you work for a church.
Even if you're single and work for a church.
Yeah.
If you're single and work at a strip club, don't go rubbing people's
Oh,
inner
you
thigh.
shouldn't.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But then when you get into like emotional abuse and spiritual abuse,
some of that stuff.
It's all
It's a foggy.
subjective.
Yeah. It's a foggy.
And so like you're gonna have to have to like take me down.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have a little bit more than I personally got my feelings hurt by a person.
Yeah.
That was in charge of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah. And a lot of that stuff was like, these people were like, and they, made me do this and they made me do that. It's like, all right, everybody, I've been a part of churches for 30 something years. I have never been forced to do anything.
Yeah.
At any point, I could have been like, you know what? This is just not.
But the peer pressure and but you still can.
Yeah.
You're just adding.
Should a church tell you to do something over and above? No. Not to the degree that they were doing with some of the staff members.
Yeah.
Or some of the volunteers or whatever they call it. Like, and the other thing about the documentary was they found a select group of volunteers. Just volunteers. None of these people worked at the church. None of these people were actually like privy to any information. And there were two key parts of the movie that they like tried to make a transition into. Hillsong is doing this all for the money, and they're doing this for this.
Good grief, that was so much of it.
And then, so in the second episode, you didn't see this, but two of the volunteers were sitting there, and they said the words that came out of their mouth were, "I don't know this, but this is the rumor, or this is the whatever."
Like, y'all flew these people in here to say that.
They should have said, "I don't know." And then that should have been the end of it, because then it's just you're getting into opinion. And these people were one of their opinions was Carl Lentz and his wife were about to make their exit from the church, and Brian didn't want them to leave. And so he was like, I'm going to tarnish their record, and so they'll never be able to pastor anywhere ever again. And it's like, come on, people.
That doesn't, like...
You think that's what the church is doing?
Yeah.
Like, you think the church is doing that? Like, and if you look through the glasses of the church is here just to make money, they don't actually care about people. Then all these claims,
the amount of times that every single person that spoke on that interview called them consumers instead of attendees.
Yeah.
Like, if that's your... I couldn't have told you how, if any, or how many of those people were Christians that they talked to.
Oh, now? Yeah.
I know the guy that does the Preachers and Sneakers is.
Yeah.
And he was pretty level-headed.
Yeah.
And then it was like some former Hillsong members.
And then it was former members of other churches.
Yeah, and like
where are you
and
guys?
then like a grief counselor. Like, is she a Christian grief counselor?
Yeah.
Is she
a reporter from Sydney, Australia that's not
that
Christian?
that works for the Sydney Journal.
That she probably thinks that Hillsong is.
You look at his Instagram and he's like a violent atheist or something. Like, it's.
There was a lot of the documentary, and it was. If I kept watching, I watched all 3 episodes. I struggled through the first episode, struggled through the second episode, struggled through the third episode, and I just kept thinking, well, this is a documentary. We're going to learn something new. Mm-hmm. But really all it was
like a recap
was
of
just
everything.
It was just like amalgamation of like...
Discovery could have just paid us for those 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah. 3 episodes.
3. And
the 4 or 5 that
we've
done.
talked about.
Yeah.
And it would have been the exact same thing.
Absolutely. Well, we would have been a little bit more like lenient towards the church and said, hey, the church is not a bad place.
Oh my gosh. And the way this one reporter in City was like, Carl Lentz set out to become friends with celebrities. That was his goal.
Yeah. That was his goal.
And it like, okay, this guy was
Did he say that on the record? was Carl Lentz ever? Did Carl Lentz ever say that?
Well, no.
In person or to anyone?
No.
So then you can't say it in a documentary,
Right. Unless you say, I think, which I mean, I guess he did, but it's still like you're just looking at the guy. Because all of this, I wrote this down. Look how many notes I took on the first episode. I thought it was going to be long and we were going to, like the Mars Hill one. I thought we were going to like continue to talk about Anyway.
This is it.
Dang. All of this where they're like, it was set up to all be about money. It was set up to abuse people. It was created to be a business. It has nothing to do with Christianity. And like, okay, so don't say it's this. Say either I think this or it could be this.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it as they grew and grew and grew and grew and spread and spread and spread, and they had no pastoral care.
Well, here's the other thing about that is, okay, it's a multi-million-dollar company, essentially. If we're going to use the analogy,
I'm fine with calling a church a business if we're talking about the business side of it.
If we'll just call it it's a multi-million-dollar corporation.
Sure.
Okay. So what's another multi-million-dollar corporation? Just off the top of your head.
Any of them?
Yeah.
Like Apple?
Okay, Apple. Do you think Tim Cook knows what the regional sales manager
At the summit?
is doing? Yeah. Like, and then they're like, what? They knew. They knew.
So that's a good point. I'm sure Apple's bigger than Hillsong.
Yeah, absolutely.
As even in like structure.
Yeah.
But if the store manager at the summit sexually assaulted an employee, I don't know if Tim Cook ever hears about that.
Probably not. And you know what? Well, they would be fired.
Yeah.
Because they would be sexually assaulting an employee.
Okay, if they sexually assaulted a customer.
Yeah.
A consumer.
Yeah. No, it would all be,
Right, but I don't know if that gets back to...
No, that's not going to get back to Tim Cook.
No.
Because what does he care?
And if we're looking at it like that...
It might go one step above.
I would say the volunteers are employees if we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Because then, like, that's internal because you were serving at the church.
Yeah. You're going to try and handle that internally. There might be criminal stuff that comes from it, but you're going to try and...
But and I don't know. I think it should...
get to the head pastor.
No matter how big your business, whatever.
I think it probably would. If it was like substantiated, if it
got in the news, obviously.
Well, but if Carl Lentz or any of the other pastors sexually assaulted a member of the church or a volunteer, and it's substantiated and it's true and we know about it, there's no way that doesn't go to the senior pastor.
But in general and in the church, it seems like that doesn't happen very often.
It really,
It seems like it gets buried somewhere.
It does. And that's...
it might all get buried at the top, but it's a lot of this is getting buried.
But here's the thing. If you say it's getting buried at the top, I know you're not saying that, but if you are an outsider saying it's buried at the top and they know about
every piece of information is getting to the president.
Yeah, and then you're like, he's a horrible person.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
You can't say it in a documentary.
Yeah.
I'm watching a documentary because I want to know the facts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the opinions.
This was lax on facts.
It was. But
unless you haven't read anything about Hillsong in the past 2 years.
Yeah. Here's the other thing is, I think it was in the second, it was either the second or the third episode, they talked about Hillsong College attendees. Mm-hmm. That they have this works with children check off or something like that, where they do like a background check and then they bring you in and they say, have you had sex, drank, or done drugs in the past year? And if you have, then you're not greenlit to work with children. They don't want you working with the children.
This is at Hillsong?
This is at Hillsong. And then if that's the case, then as a Hillsong college attendee, you have to go through extra classes that you will eventually get greenlit into the program. Mm-hmm. And they are up in arms about this checklist thing. But if they didn't do that...
Well, who is they? This documentary?
Media. Yeah, documentary. The people... And that was another thing. So They go in this deep dive about Hillsong College, and they found 4 people to talk to.
Yeah.
That would have
everybody else is too scared.
that should have the worst stories ever. One girl had a really bad story. I will say that, not discounting her, but the other ones were like, I had to clean the church. I was free labor. Cool. Like, what do you are you?
You're in school to work at a church.
Well,
right?
also, is that above you?
Right.
Or that's below you?
Yeah.
That's you would.
You're above.
I should be a pastor.
Yeah.
I should be a worship leader. I should be on stage tonight.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm cleaning the church. All right. Well, when you get to your first church, and you're the only employee,
You're there at midnight by
we'll
yourself.
see
Yeah.
if you really enjoyed.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind a documentary with a bunch of those people complaining about a church because I'd probably move to that church.
Yeah, and
Not the sex.
if
I'm
they
talking about the hard work
if
stuff.
they didn't do that checklist thing,
Who knows who you'd be having there with your
who
children?
knows who you'd be having in there with your children. Plus, you don't think they'd rip you apart if they found one person that you let through
that diddled a kid
Yeah.
on the other side of Australia and moved to Sydney. Yeah.
But we're upset about it because these 2 or 3 kids were bummed out about it.
They were upset about a checklist.
Yeah, because they didn't get
Structure.
greenlit.
Because they were drinking or smoking or.
They were like, I had to go through extra classes, and then I couldn't be on stage, and then I couldn't do this. They're like, I think there was something more nefarious about that checkoff than it was. It's like, it's a Christian organization. And then when Hillsong released a statement about that, they said, we're just trying to make sure that these people who are held to a higher moral standard and can be able to produce with being that high moral standard and not falling for all this other stuff.
But they don't have no checklist for their pastors.
That's the other thing that I was like, that's an open door though. Like, you know, and that was the thing about one of the girls was she got sexually assaulted at a dinner party at a pastor's house, which he like fondled her or whatever. But all of the other people were drinking. The Hillsong College kids couldn't drink, but everybody else could drink.
The pastors and
this
stuff.
pastor, she said it was noticeable that he was like drinking excessively. None of the other people were.
Yeah.
She said, but you see this guy and he's like pounding beers.
I mean, well, it all started with Brian Houston's dad being a pedophile.
Yeah,
like
that's it. Yeah, and that's another big thing that is like that's a pretty big.
That's yeah.
But you don't like okay. His dad did that, and then they say he knew about it. He probably did. And then it's like okay, well, so they thought that they handled it. They thought they did good. Mm-hmm. Then let's we can't.
His dad did he go to jail?
I don't remember if he did it or not. I think he maybe recently they convicted him enough to go to. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
but let's burn Brian at the stake because they thought they handled it.
Yeah,
and now we find everybody else finds out about it, which they probably should have been more open and honest about it back then.
I think his dad's stuff has. I think I've known that for a long time.
I have too. But I'm saying when it happened, it
back
should
in
have
the
been
80s?
brought to light, and then yeah.
But I don't know what the judicial system in Australia in the 80s was.
Yeah, that's true. They might have been like, it's okay.
I just didn't like that they every single aspect that could either be positive or negative.
They framed it in negative.
Which just Brian Houston met the president.
Yeah.
Do you not want a mega church, like a global pastor meeting the president?
These people don't.
And it was just like, it was stuff like that. And it's like, I definitely think it's ridiculous for a pastor to have $1,000 pair of shoes.
Yeah. This is the double-edged sword there, because I talked about this. My mom and me watched the first episode together. Double-edged sword there. So you're the pastor of a church, you know, and we'll say Garth Brooks starts coming to your church.
You start wearing cowboy boots.
Well, no. Garth Brooks starts coming to your church. Oh, cool. Garth Brooks is coming to my church. We start to become friends. We're somewhere, and for your birthday, He shows up.
He buys you $1,000 pair of boots.
A cowboy hat.
I have that written in my notes.
He buys you
how much of
$1,000
that is gifts?
Yeah.
Because
and
when
that's-
you go speak at a church, they'll buy you a pair of shoes
Exactly.
and have them sitting in your green room.
So can you be upset about that, or
Yeah.
should you,
I've-
as a
I've
pastor,
been there. I've
should
seen
you
that.
as a pastor, be like, I can't accept this gift. Now let me take this and we'll put the money towards the church, or like, can I accept gifts? Like somebody wants to gift you a pair of shoes, or they want to gift you something.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying a pastor should have a whatever's expensive suit or whatever, but I mean, if somebody gifted you that, like you can't. If somebody gifted me a $3,000 cowboy hat, that thing would sit in my closet.
Right.
I would pull it out for special occasions. I'd be
When
like,
he
this
came
is
over-
the best. Like, this is an amazing.
You'd
gift
have it in
that
a
somebody-
shadow box on your mantle.
Probably so. But like, why are we sitting there and
Yeah.
throwing rocks when we live in a glass house?
Also, it's in poor taste.
To accept the gift?
No. The how much of these are gifts is just a very small facet of in general, to be flashy
Yeah.
like
Well, like freaking, what was the pastor that bought his wife a Lamborghini?
Gray.
Yeah.
John Gray.
John Gray.
After he cheated on her for the second time.
Yeah.
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 That's a little much.
Got kicked out of his church for all that.
That's a little much.
Is what happened?
Buying a Lamborghini.
Oh, I thought you were saying I was a
No.
little much. I
No,
was
no,
like,
no.
well, which part's not true?
No.
Okay.
It's a little much that he bought her a Lamborghini.
like a well,
It's the SUV version of a Lamborghini.
what does it cost?
A
Six
lot.
figures?
Yeah, more
More than six?
probably.
But that means 7 figures. That's not $1 million car.
Some of those Lamborghinis are.
Oh. Let's go on the cheap and say it was $375,000.
Okay. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Absolutely. Should Kenneth Copeland have 7 jets or whatever he has?
Well, I don't.
No.
Well, I think El Diablo might have paid for a couple of those people, and they put them in it at the front. The Tammy Bate, and like,
Well, that's kind of where the televangelism
but
started.
Benny Hinn and
then
all
they
that
said,
too.
but they said that that's where he learned how to do it.
Yeah, he came to America to learn that,
to learn that, not
just to learn how to make money,
not to learn how to evangelize, just to learn how to make money.
And then okay, so they grow like weeds over the 90s and the early 2000s, and then they go international. You know how expensive that is? So let's say all this money that this whole thing was about just got used to plant more churches. You could say that's more
Revenue coming in now because there's more churches. It's a
Jesus Christ.
it can all be some. Well, so there's the only people that I put like any like shred of hope or like shred of like I'm actually going to listen to what you say is the 2 pastors from Kiev. There were Hillsong.
See, they were briefly in the first one.
Yeah, okay.
They didn't say anything.
They would say stuff, and it's like, I believe what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because they were the only 2 people that actually ever worked for the church.
Yeah.
And then when they said something about the church in Kiev that was interesting is the head church, like the Australian church, would send speakers or like book speakers for their church, and they were supposed to pay these like $15,000 fees for these speakers, and they were like, look, we're in a third world country, we can't afford to do this every time, but it would rest on their shoulders as pastors of that church to like come up with the money. They said the average salary is like $300 a month in Kiev, and they're expected to pay $15,000 for it. And it was like, okay, that's ridiculous. That seems like an oversight somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how that becomes. And I'm not saying that the Houstons are infallible. I'm not saying
Not at all.
that Hillsong is infallible.
Not at all.
And they seem like their
There's
leadership.
plenty to say about Hillsong.
Absolutely. Everybody screws up. Everybody does stuff wrong. And
I
when
think
you're a
they've-
part of a global organization, you're not going to be able to get everything right.
Just from their track record over the past few years, it seems like they do a very, very poor job of intercommunication
Yeah.
and pastoral care.
Well, and so one of the things that they're doing now, and the whole reason that I even brought any of this stuff up to you earlier today was I saw a TikTok that was the Hillsong Atlanta pastor explaining to his congregation what was going on, because the Hillsong Atlanta they broke off from Hillsong. Here's what's happened is they've put Phil Dooley as he's a long time like charismatic guy. No, just charismatic guy. He's now the senior pastor, and when the Hillsong Atlanta church talked to him, they said, like, what does this look like for us? And they said, look, we're kind of like stopping everything. Like
Hillsong.
We're working on making the Hillsong church that's in Australia back to where it needs to be. We're building this back.
The Dooley guy is working for Hillsong.
He is the senior pastor of Hillsong now.
Oh,
Brian Houston's out.
I thought you meant the Atlanta one.
No.
Oh,
he's the head honcho.
So they're going to shrink down?
They're going to shrink down. They said
That's
the
the
only
best thing you could
American
do.
campuses they're keeping are New York and LA. I would imagine because they're
The coasts. Biggest
or they're the
hubs.
biggest. Yeah,
The
whatever.
hubs. His son's in charge of LA,
Yeah.
and I don't know who's in
New
charge.
York, I would imagine there's so much like going on there that you couldn't just be like, we're closing up shop.
Well, and you got to think there was a Boston campus, there was
Yeah.
a Chicago.
There's Connecticut. There's
Connecticut. So like, there's probably a
Austin,
decent
there's-
pastor somewhere in there that they can move to New York,
probably.
or have already,
And
because the Carl Lentz stuff was months and months ago.
Oh yeah, they've already put somebody else in
Right.
that position.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
Well, they need to draw back. That's what
Yeah.
you do.
But all that to say, we went way too long on that topic.
Well, it
I have this interesting thing that I saw this week. It says 75% of kids left the church from 18 to 29. And then
say that one more time.
75% of kids left the church, capital C church, from the ages of 18 to 29.
Yeah.
So essentially, after they left home, 75% of kids
3 out of 4 quit
leave
going
the
to church.
Do you want to know why the 25% stayed? This is 5 things that I guess they took like a poll to like see
Of the 1 out of 4 that stays in church
Yes.
through college and young adulthood,
why they stayed in church. So number 1
Can I
is
guess?
Yeah.
friendships.
No.
Dang, at all? They were scared. Okay, just tell me the
Okay. Number 1 is they ate dinner 5 of 7 nights a week as a family.
Oh, this okay. Okay.
Yeah, served with their families in the ministry. They had at least one spiritual experience in the home during the week. They had at least one faith-focused adult in their lives other than their parents.
Cool.
And then the 4th one or the 5th one is entrusted with their responsibilities in ministry at an early age. So essentially,
What Hollins does.
or you're actually a Christian family.
You're a Christian family?
No, like that's what actually happened. Like this,
you
the
have an actual
25%
Christian family.
had an actual Christian family.
So, you want to extrapolate, but not have a lot of science to back it up. See what happens.
I guess I don't know. And Lee is Googling right now for those that are just listening.
Okay. Okay. The United States has the largest Christian population in the world, and more specifically, the largest Protestant population in the world, which is what we're going off of, with nearly 230 to 250 million Christians.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 350 million Americans. 230 of them are Christian. What's 1 in 4 of 230 million?
Well, let's do 250 because that's a quarter. That'd be easier to make a quarter out of a quarter.
250 million divided by 4. There's really
62 million.
There's 62 million Christian.
Like actual, like yeah. So that's like that was when
Now,
I
there's no science to back. That was
Yeah.
math and Google.
It was just interesting to me whenever they were like reading through the things that like actually like made the kids
a Christian stay in church.
It was like
being
a Christian.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty obvious.
Which means it's not that hard to do. So maybe we can turn the thing around.
Yeah, maybe so. If everybody thinks like us and not like the people that were on the Hillsong documentary.
Yeah.
They were like, my feelings were hurt because I wasn't on the stage. I had to clean the bathroom.
So we went over on that.
Yeah.
What do you want to jump to, my friend?
So this is just a really quick thing that I was thinking about this week. I watched It Chapter 2, the movie. Has nothing to do with the actual movie. But as I was watching the movie, I was struck with like this weird, like, do you remember when you were a kid, like you had your kids who were your friends who were kids, and then you put so much emphasis on like, hey, we're going to be friends forever, right?
Yeah.
Like we're never going to never not going to be friends. It's like, isn't that such like a weird, like that you were so dead set on being connected with these people for the rest of your life?
That's what you do with your first girlfriend too.
That's true.
First couple of girlfriends.
Yeah. But then you like get older and you don't put as much emphasis on that. It's like, it's just a weird, like,
it's wisdom.
I don't need people in my life.
No, but like you understand seasons better.
Yeah.
Like when you're 5, you don't know about the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah.
But when you're 25 and you've lost some friends and you've gained new friends in college,
you're like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah. Because I heard somebody say one time that, like, to know if somebody was well-rounded socially, half of their bridesmaids or groomsmen are from before college and half are from college and after. Like that's how
they're well-rounded.
You kept some old friends, but you made new friends enough to ask them to be in your wedding.
Yeah.
I thought, like, that's
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. And then thinking back, it was like half and half.
Mine wasn't.
Yeah. Well, can't all be great.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't born in a Christian household either, so I'm just kidding.
Oh,
it's just kidding.
She's about to bust through that door and hit you with a stick. You ever lost a friend and like still remember it?
Like still remember the friend?
No, like still remember the moment you lost your friend to another person.
No. Like, so they were your friend.
I smell the parking lot.
They were your friend.
They're my best friend.
And then found
over
another
the course
person.
of a semester, never talked to me again.
Dang.
We lived on the same street, like every day.
Remember that.
Our parents were best friends.
Yeah.
Every day.
Saw each other.
And it was like 4th grade, and a new kid came in, and they were thick as thieves. And since the 4th grade, I've talked to him twice.
Is that why you get so upset whenever I tell you that I hung out with somebody else?
Oh, God.
Man, childhood trauma.
No.
We're figuring it out.
We're deep. You don't believe in any of this.
We're figuring it out.
Your hands are so cold. Like
I'm
my
so
wife's
happy
hands.
right now.
Soft, supple hands.
I'll tell your wife that we figured something out.
I feel good. No,
I'm not going to leave you.
Wisdom.
So
I'll just hold off. I'll just not uncomfortable. I don't know that.
Hold off.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I remember it. It doesn't hurt
Anymore.
Yeah. No, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely got over it.
I never had moments like that. I had moments that it was just like all of the friends that I've had that I'm not friends with anymore, it was just kind of like an overtime.
Oh, always it's like that.
Yeah.
I literally, we were standing in line, I tapped him on the shoulder, and he turned around, and then he went back. It's like yesterday, we were best friends. It was wild.
Dang.
Yeah. But yeah, it usually like people move, especially when you turn into an adult and like get out of college.
Yeah.
And everybody goes off. And then
does their own thing.
Either you go off or stay or whatever, and you got to start over again.
Yeah. Or they get addicted to drugs.
Yeah. Or that.
Happens. So your next thing.
Okay. For the sake of the show, I haven't looked at this yet either.
Okay.
So it'll be good. Here we go. So you remember the dress thing, the gold and white or the black and
then there's
silk,
the sneaker too. There was a sneaker that was gold and white, or it was like a bright blue and white.
I remember the dress.
The sneaker was like not far after it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a new one.
Okay. Let's see it.
This is from the New York Post, so you know it's real. Optical illusion of man taking sunset photo leaves internet divided. Okay, so it's a tricky optical illusion of a man taking a photograph at sunset has viewers divided over which way he's facing. The image posted to Reddit shows the silhouette of a man holding a camera up towards the distance as if he's trying to capture a sunset. People can't figure out if he's towards the camera, shadowed,
Like
or
he's
if
trying
he's
to take a
away
selfie.
from the. But no, he's got a camera.
Yeah, I'm saying he's either like it's facing towards him like a selfie, or it's the other way.
So you're taking a picture of the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a picture of you taking a picture of the sunset.
And they can't
I
figure
can't tell if you're facing that way or this way.
Okay.
And I haven't looked at it yet
Okay,
either.
let's see it.
And I bet we disagree.
Picture. What's so confusing about that?
Which way
He's
is he
looking at the
facing?
camera.
He's looking that way.
Yeah, but if this was the camera.
No, so you're saying he's looking this way?
No, he's looking whatever way that's not the sun. The sunset's over here, wouldn't it be? Or everybody's looking that way.
I don't know which way is he pointing?
He's pointing towards the sunset.
Which-
He's pointing this direction.
So act like this is the stage. This is the world. He's either pointing that way or he's pointing this way.
oh, he's definitely pointing this way. He's got to be. Look at where his hat is. That's at an angle.
But see, I'm looking at the front of his face pointing towards us. I'm serious.
And his hat is like this.
Yeah. No. He's looking. He's not looking directly in between us. He's looking off your right shoulder. To me. But you think he's looking at the NASCAR poster. I think he's looking over your right shoulder.
Oh, he's not looking over there. Because again, his hat would have to be like cocked.
So everything that you think is his like left arm and right arm, his left arm and right arm are swapped in my head.
So I think this is what it is because it just, for me, it just flipped.
See,
So
okay.
this is, hold on. So it's either he's looking
over one of your shoulders, basically. If you're staring at it by yourself.
no, he's looking straight that way right now.
He's still looking this way.
No, he's either facing the camera or he's facing directly away from the camera.
Okay.
It looks like he's facing directly away from the camera now.
But so see,
He's either looking right here towards me right now, or he's faced completely opposite.
Okay, so-
this is the back of his head.
that's the left side of his face.
If that's the left side of his face, his hat is. I'm telling you, the hat's
No,
weird.
look. Okay, so you see his.
Where is he looking right now?
Okay.
Just point where he's looking. I don't think anybody's thinking. I think you're literally the only person that's thinking that because they're either thinking he's facing directly right there or he's looking straight at me right now.
The only two ways he could be looking are right here. Like if you think
That's the back of his head.
if you think
he's at a
that's his-
slight angle. No. Look, just like this. No. Stop. Zoom back out.
you see that mound
back
right
out.
there, that's his hair.
Zoom back out.
On the
Yeah,
back.
that's the back of his
If
head.
you're looking at it from
yeah,
that.
zoom out.
That's also an ear.
Zoom out. Okay?
See, I don't think he's doing that.
That's exactly what he's doing.
I don't think he's doing that. Can I see your phone? He's doing.
No, because his hat. No.
Is doing the same thing. I promise.
No.
He's doing this right here. And you think he's doing this.
Yeah.
He's really doing this.
No.
Yes, he is.
Nope. Do you want to know how to tell if you're a woman or not?
Yes.
Okay. So
And just look up the
It's gonna
sunset
be
picture
on-
optical illusion.
it's gonna be
Okay,
on this-
The picture?
yeah.
Okay, good. If you don't watch YouTube, go look at it for yourself.
So this is Are You a Woman? 12 signs to look for. What is a woman? Nobody knows. Not even the Supreme Court nominees. But we've come up with a few key indicators to look for. Run through this list. Keep track of how many yes answers you come up with. The more affirmatives, the more likely you are a woman. So number 1, are you always cold?
No.
Number 2, has a human ever popped out of you?
No. I've seen this. Okay, this is really cute.
Number 3, have you ever decorated a bed with 6 or more pillows?
No.
Number 4, can you tell the difference between cream white and rustic farmhouse white?
No.
Have you run into a curb in the past 24 hours?
No.
Do you bleed like for an extended period of time at regular intervals?
No.
Does it take you over 3 hours to decide what to eat?
No.
Are you currently a member of at least 3 pyramid schemes?
No.
Do you find simple movie plots hard to follow?
No.
Do you frequently describe your emotional state as fine when you are not in fact fine?
No.
Is your Starbucks drink order anything other than black coffee?
No.
Do you have 2 X chromosomes?
No.
Okay, so then we're going to tally up our...
I think it was 0.
So tally up your number of yes answers and consult this chart. 0 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's a small chance you're a dude, bro. 3 to 5. We're getting some feminine vibes here. 6 to 8. Starting to look kind of likely that you're probably a woman. 9 to 11. Definitely a woman. Number 12. You are the final boss of women. So, if you ever wondered,
If Josh is a sexist.
that's a Babylon Bee article.
Yeah, that's funny.
It is funny. There was nothing. I didn't think there was anything
No.
extremely sexist.
And all I did was answer questions.
Yeah.
So, do you want a few interesting facts to end the day on?
Yes, we gotta go through them quick.
That's all I do. Just kidding. But we'll do these quick. Okay. Did you know that the Sprouse brothers, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, those are the ones that did the flight stuff.
No, not the, not the,
They're Kitty Hawk,
not the,
North Carolina.
not the Redenbach, nor the Orville, the Wrights,
The popcorn guy.
popcorn magnet. I'm tired.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Cole and Dylan Sprouse.
No, I have no idea.
They were on Disney.
I didn't watch Disney.
Those two brothers, they're like actors. They're both famous.
Okay.
They were the kid from Big Daddy.
Oh, okay.
It was 2 of them.
And then they were on another TV show later in
They've
life.
been on movies and TV. They were on a bunch of Disney stuff, and now they're like actors,
Yeah.
full-on actors.
I don't know those guys.
I didn't know they were the little boy from Big Daddy.
Mm.
That's funny. Did you know that up until 2013, Pizza Hut was the largest buyer of kale in the United States? They used it for their buffet dressing.
Just garnish on the dressing.
It's for show.
Dang.
Yeah. And now people think you're supposed to eat it.
Yeah. I don't know if you were ever not supposed to eat it. I think they just made it.
You're not supposed to eat kale.
Okay.
Third and lastly, it's did you know Mel Gibson's coming out with another Passion of the Christ? This isn't a joke. This is Mel Gibson's doing another Passion of the Christ.
Is it Passion of the Christ 2 even more passionate?
It's Passion Resurrection.
Oh, so it's after the resurrection.
I'm being serious.
Yeah.
So it's going to depict everything that occurred during the 3 days in every realm of existence, and possibly even have flashbacks to the fall of the angels.
Really?
I am psyched.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Maybe not do it in Aramaic this time. Have it in English.
Yeah, can we do that in English? Yeah. What was the Chosen? They weren't in Aramaic the
Yeah,
whole
and
time.
people love that show.
Yeah. Let's try that this time.
Did y'all have those we had like Passion of the Christ watch parties at youth group?
You know what was something that I've always felt bad about?
What?
So we
Falling asleep during Passion of the Christ?
we packed out the movie theater and in Demopolis, which is an accomplishment. But while we were at the movie theater, I had already had like some people that I knew who had went to see it already, and they were like, if you don't cry. Like, it's crazy. And I didn't cry.
You didn't?
And I've always felt bad about it.
Well, you were reading. There was.
Oh, yeah. 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 You're like, something's going on.
I was
You're
supposed to be sad.
what are you saying?
And it was like, it was yellow. It
Yeah.
wasn't even, it was so hard to read.
It's like, hold on a minute.
Yeah. And it came out when we were younger.
They,
But I remember.
is Jesus dying right now? Who is that?
I remember vividly. We put up a giant wooden cross in the middle of the room, took all the chairs out, and played it on like the screen in the youth room.
Oh, yeah.
And it just, you'd come up and cry at the thing and all that. I remember. It was great.
So it was an interesting thing that I saw yesterday. It just reminded me of that. When you said, he's been in however many, or he's coming out with another movie. For some reason, Mel Gibson reminded me of Bruce Willis.
Oh, he's got aphasia. He's done.
What?
Bruce Willis is retiring from acting. He has aphasia. Is that not what you're talking about?
No.
This is like from 2 days ago.
Oh.
He's not doing well at all. Anyway, what were you about to
I'm
say?
devastated.
Oh, yeah. I thought Bruce Willis, there's no way that's not what you're talking about.
No.
Dang. You okay?
Yeah.
You okay, buddy?
Yeah, man.
What was the cool thing you were about to say about Bruce
I don't
Willis?
know anymore.
And
That punched me in the gut, man.
I'm assuming you know what aphasia is.
So, Bruce, if you had to guess how many movies Bruce Willis was in last year, how many would you guess?
4.
No. They were all direct to video too, like direct to
he's
streaming.
making as much money as he can right now.
It was for your final answer.
I guess, yeah.
7.
Dang.
Cosmic Sin, Out of Death, Midnight in the Switchgrass, Survive the Game, Apex, Deadlock, and Fortress. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, he's got 8 coming out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might have just retired from all those, though, because he,
That's true.
retired from
Yeah.
acting 2 days ago. Man. Yeah.
Screw you, dude.
Do you know what aphasia is?
We talked about it in EMT, but I can't remember.
It's from brain damage, or you can get it from brain damage, and you lose the ability to communicate.
Yeah.
You can't understand communication, or
Push it out. And that'd be pretty hard to be an actor.
it's hard to live. Yeah.
I could see why he would stop doing acting.
Yeah, he'll have
what
to
do you
retire.
Think, what do you think he's going to do now that he's...
Point at pictures to get his point across, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, now that he's not an actor, what do you think he's going to do?
Probably try not to die. I don't know if it'll.
I'd like to think he was like maybe a waiter or something.
Well, he can't do all that now.
Maybe he's just trying to get out of acting.
I've got aphasia.
I've got aphasia. I've got alopecia.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean aphasia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Jada Pinkett has?
Yeah.
He might have that too. He's been bald for a minute. But yeah, he retired.
Yeah.
And he's not doing well.
Frick, man.
Dang. Well, on
No
that
more
note,
diehards.
on that, yeah.
He's going to die hard. Dang.
Well, on that note, guys, that was episode 101.
101.
We're on our way to 200. Thank you guys for being a part of that, letting us into your hearts and minds and your places of work and your homes.
And your butts.